Good. Well, in looking at the last game, I think there was a lot of good things that we did in the game, and I think the most important one or the most significant one to me was, we played with good intangibles, better intangibles in the game. We played with a lot of effort, a lot of toughness. I had a little better discipline to execute in the game, which I think led to some explosive plays, which is one of the things that we did well offensively. And certainly, I was really pleased and happy with the way the team responded to the challenge of finishing the season and playing well against a very good top 20 conference opponent. There's obviously some things that, we want to clean up and get better on. Still made, mental errors that led to negative plays on both sides of the ball. Ball security, balls on the ground in the last two games more than it's been all year. That's something that we need to address and practice, and practice those things so that they become the habits that carry over in the game. And the mental errors on both sides of the ball are things that we really need to clean up, and we always seem to see things that are different than maybe what we practiced, and with our little bit of lack of experience sometimes in certain positions, whether it be the offensive line or on defense, we get a little bit confused and have to make a lot of corrections. But we had a lot of players that played well in this game, and like to finish the game a little bit better from an overall standpoint. But we had some guys that played really well. Chance Warmack played very well, and Marquise Mays on offense, and Mark Barron and Robert Lester. And Robert was the, SEC Defensive Player of the Week. And Cade Foster, D. Miller, and Eddie Lacey did a good job on special teams. I do think that special teams made a difference in the game for us in field position. Did a really good job in kickoff coverage, and even though the punt return got called back, we had a positive average on punt return, and they were a very good punt coverage team, so that was a good thing. We probably have three guys who won't practice today. Barrett Jones is probably out for this game. Kerry Murphy is probably questionable for this game. And B.J. Scott is probably going to have surgery in the next couple days on an ankle that has never really ever gotten any better over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, and I think it's a tendon issue. So, since he hasn't responded, the only other way to do this is to fix it. I think in games like this, we always want to be concerned about playing to our standard. We always have a tremendous amount of respect for the team that we're playing. That's what our focus is. That's what we're concerned about this week. We're not concerned about anything else. We're not concerned about anybody else, but the team that we play this week. And technically, we need to prepare well and do what we need to do. I mean, this team played overtime against Jacksonville State, who beat Ole Miss. All right, so we respect the players that they have. We respect the good job of coaching, that they do. They present issues and problems that we need to resolve on offense, defense, and special teams, just like every other team that we play. And even though they have a lot of young players, they have some good players, and very good players. And Bill Curry's a good coach. They have a good coaching staff, and they've certainly done, a very good job, with their team. They've been able to throw the ball effectively. They got a pretty good passing quarterback. Got another guy they bring in and do some wildcat-type runs with, who is a quarterback. So, and this short week of preparation is, something that is going to be challenging for us, and it's going to be challenging for our players to be able to adapt to a new routine and prepare themselves like they need to prepare themselves to go out and play a good game.
Coach Saban, just to follow up on that, talk about the challenges of just having such a short time, just a 72-hour window to prepare.
Right. Well, today's like Wednesday, if we were playing on Saturday. And, but yet it's sort of a Monday practice, for us. But, our approach is, we're going to cut practice down by, 20 minutes or so each of the next 2 days, but try to do and cover the repetitions that we get versus the other team and the scout team in preparation for the other team on Tuesday and Wednesday, which will not put us on the practice field much longer than we are on Monday and Thursday of a typical week, and we'll practice in shells both days. And, at this point, with this approach, it's going to be a technical knowledge that we have to get, and we can't be focusing on, trying to get fundamental repetitions against each other because we just don't have that much practice time.
Also, I was curious if you had hurt your hand on AJ's hip pad as he was coming off the field.
No, I didn't feel his hip pad. I just need to ask him what he felt. I guess we made, he told me we made ESPN, huh? Well, just to share with you is, I love AJ, and the challenge with AJ has never been about his talent. It's always been about, staying in what you're supposed to do. And, we ran a post over. We're supposed to read it from top down. They got a middle of the field safety and a guy covering Julio and the guy coming over. This was way before we ever got sacked and fumbled and did all that stuff where we had to kick a field goal. And, I just felt like he should have thrown the ball to the guy that wasn't covered running the over route. And instead of trying to make a big play by throwing the ball down the field, you take what the defense gives you. You don't make a decision before it ever happens that, you want to throw a touchdown pass, So you need to check your ego at the door and do what you're supposed to do to make it work for the team. So, I've had this conversation already, so it's not like I'm anything new, but it was a good opportunity to teach, and it was a good opportunity for him to learn.
Coach, I was wondering if you could talk about the success that you guys had, it seemed, with those bigger plays to the right side of the line and what the offensive line's impact was on those plays.
Well, those plays were really sort of, I think the guys that created those plays were perimeter plays, and the key blocks on both of the plays, Julio's run and Mark's screen catch, were really the receivers, blocking on the perimeter. And in both cases, Hanks and Julio on Mark's run, and Hanks and I forget who was in there on the other one. They were perimeter runs, speed sweep type plays, even though one was a screen pass. And, you throw them out there and you got to be able to block the people on the perimeter. And once you break the line, you got a good opportunity to get a big play. So, they're not things where the offensive line had to do something significant. In Julio's play, the offensive line actually blocked in the other direction, to give them the impression that we were going to run a stretch play, the other way.
And then just, you talked about Barrett Jones probably out this week. What do you expect to do with that position? And then a little bit about the return of DJ Fluker and how he played.
DJ did fine in the game, and, Anthony Steen did a pretty good job after he got settled down a little bit in, this game. You just get more guys that have less knowledge and less experience, in the offensive line. But we'll probably at least practice Alfred a little bit at guard too. Alfred's kind of the guy that can play left tackle, right tackle, just about play anywhere, and he's really a guard to start with. So we'll practice him some there, just so we have some additional depth. But DJ did fine in the game, and we'll probably end up playing like we finished the game after Barrett got hurt.
Coach, how is Trent Richardson feeling, and what's his prognosis for this game?
Well, he's practicing today. He actually wanted to play in the last game. We didn't feel like he had practiced enough or he was ready enough, and I still think we have to evaluate that day to day. Be interesting. He really didn't do anything on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, So he's had 3 recovery days as well as rehab days to see where he is today. And that will determine a lot as to, how ready he'll be to play in this game and what contribution he'll be able to make.
2 questions, Coach. First, can you just comment on the difficulty that Bill Curry would have starting up a first-year program, and are there any outward signs of that in terms of substitution chaos or anything like that?
No, this team is very well coached, and you would not know. And they've won, 6 games. So, they don't look like they have any organizational issues. They're really well coached, and they do a lot of different things. They don't have a lot of penalties. They've been practicing for a long time. I think the issue is that they haven't been able to do the full body of work and recruit, 4 or 5 recruiting classes to have, maybe the numbers of players of the depth. Although I have a lot of respect for the players that they have playing. They play hard, they execute well. They got some decent skill players on offense. They score 30 points a game versus who they play. So, they play quality football.
Secondly, I wanted to ask you about a couple of the redshirting freshman guys we really don't know much of anything about, Adrian Hubbard, DeAndre White. How are some of these guys progressing?
Well, they do a nice job, but I think they do a really good job every day. Their development comes in having to do, work against the defense, in DeAndre White's case, which he does a fantastic job. He's got great speed, good skill. He works hard every day and really provides us with a good look. And that's the one opportunity that we have when we do things against each other in practice, that those guys get a few reps and they get, they're there with the coaches a little bit more, and that's a chance for them to develop as well. But, some of those guys are going to be really good players, and in some cases, when you look back on it, you're not always right about, should we have played this guy, or could we have played him? How significant would his contribution have been? But we're pleased with their development, and we think they'll be very good contributors in the future.
C.J. Mosley was in on 12.